Hi everybody. It's good to see you again and welcome our beautiful family of light. So here we are. And speaking of light, look, Jamie's so clever. She put that wonderful light there to light up the crystals and Metatron. What do you think? I think we'll pull a Metatron card in a little bit. Sound good? Yeah. I think we all need an angel. And oops, okay, a strange day. Never mind, there goes the light. Everybody think this thought, I will there be light. I will there be light. That's our lesson. That's amazing. That just went out. But anyway, so it's been a crazy week. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. The thoughts in your mind, is your mind spinning with everything that's going on in this unreal world that you've made real? And now you're stressed. We get stressed because we make the unreal real. We see value in the valueless. That's why we're suffering. And it feels really difficult in these times because we're being inundated with information coming from everywhere, the media, people. You just hear it, fear. I think we're all shedding fear. I know. Well, listen, I woke up this morning and, I was telling Jamie and I couldn't stop laughing. I love laughing. I think it's great. But anyway, so here is a moment of, you would, if I was to go to a psychiatrist or a, therapist for something, they'd probably say, you're not grounded. Because remember, the ego tries to reduce these experiences of light. The ego tries to reduce them into meaningless nothings, trying to tell you that you're crazy and cuckoo when you have experiences of light or experiences of, say, a breakthrough into the real world. And, hi, Doreen. Yeah, and getting out of the unreal world. So here's what came into my mind today, and I started laughing out loud. So many years ago, my grandmother, when she passed away, now I was really close to her. She was an amazing woman.
Your microphone tucked into your shirt.
Oops.
There you go.
That's interesting. Okay. Did you hear what I said? Or was it all muffled in my throat
just
chakra?
The last few seconds.
Okay. Anyway, so my beautiful grandmother, who I was super close to, and she was native. She came from the lineage of the Lakota Sioux Indians, and so she had a real gentility and a real connection to the spirit world, and she was just amazing. So anyway, I was super close to her, and when she passed away, I was at work. I was working at an answering service. You know the old boards where you go, operator? Well, that's what I did. And my mother was working on a switchboard beside me. And I saw one of the lights light up on that switchboard that was a personal call. And I turned to my mother, and what came out of my mouth was, Grandma died. I don't know why I said that. My grandmother wasn't sick. It just came out. Well, the soul knows everything. That's the thing. The soul knows everything. And so that just came out of my mouth, and my mother looked at me kind of strange, and she answered the call, and lo and behold, it was my father calling my mom to say that his mother passed away, and it was a sudden thing. So anyway, I felt shocked and in disbelief. But a few days later, of course, there we were at the funeral. And I was standing at her casket, and I'm looking at her. And I suddenly felt the whole air around me fill with molecules of love. That's the only way to explain it. And I could feel her embracing me, and I could feel her everywhere, smiling and saying, I'm good. And she was just there. And I had this happiness well up. Well, the next thing you know, a fly landed on her nose. And I watched it, And then the fly went up her nose. And my grandmother in this unseen realm was laughing. Well, I started laughing hysterically. It was the funniest thing. Now, you know, the ego would say, what are you doing? You're laughing at this whole thing. Your grandmother died and blah, blah, blah. But I had a breakthrough moment. And we've all had them. You could call it a psychotic break from reality, whereby the truth came shining through, where I saw it was so unreal. Did you ever have a moment like that? None of it was real. And I recognized it in that moment. Now, to a psychiatrist, you would be, isn't it? Yeah, Yvette, laughter's the best medicine. But it was a laughter coming from knowing that it was unreal. That's the difference. You know, sometimes we can laugh at something. And okay, you know, but when you laugh because you know it's not real, it takes on a different meaning. It was a moment in time where I realized that that body in the casket and that fly going up the nose and the whole thing, I had a bleed through or a breakthrough into reality, the real world, where I knew that that body wasn't real, that fly wasn't real. Good morning, Jackie. Nothing about that was real. It was a moment of reality, of truth. I never forgot that. Now, you know, as I was saying last week, when my husband passed away, it was a shock and it was this and that. And then remember I told you the story, Reverend Randy, and was lifting me up to joy. So we have these moments, these breakthroughs and these bleed throughs into other realities, the only reality that there is. And I would call them holy instances, where we are filled with joy and laughter, knowing that this world is not real. It is a projection from my mind. Remember, the body is in the mind. The mind is not in the body. And if we can have a whole string of holy instants, well, let there be light. There would be nothing else but light. And then, so now I'm thinking this morning, and then lo and behold, I started to laugh at the vaccine. Whoops, I shouldn't say that word. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's everybody's choice, whatever. But I saw the unreality of this. I also saw the unreality of the COVID. I mean, seriously, and I started laughing out loud. And my dog was looking at me like, are you mad? Is there someone else in this room? But it was what I call, hi there, sweetie. Yeah, thank you. Stories are great, right? We're all storytellers. Your whole life is a story, isn't it? Yeah, all the characters in your story are all the different yous. Yeah. So there I was this morning, getting ready, you know, doing my hair, and I'm laughing. And I'm thinking about, oh my goodness, the whole entire world that's not awake is really caught in the dream world, believing that the unreal world is real. So everyone's running around, and then I was thinking about the ants scurrying around, you know, going up the wall, and how they're all busy, 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 everybody busy, busy in the unreal world. Seeing people lined up for this, right? Ooh, and this, everybody, ooh, making it all real, scared, running around. And I actually thought it was funny. Laughter and joy come from God. It's that moment when you're on that linear timeline where you're in that vertical beam of light where nothing else exists. And I thought, oh my God, that is just truth. Wouldn't it be amazing? Wouldn't it be something if you absolutely knew that everything in this world is not real? You would be functioning on a different frequency. and in a different dimension that is not of this world, you know. I think it reminded me too of when, you know, Jesus, when he died on the cross and the whole story, you know, and then he went in the tomb. But when they rolled the stone away, well, he was in his light body. So that's the whole thing. We're trapped in this body, identified as a body. And then we protect it. And we play these roles and we assign, you know, our concepts to all the people that are playing roles in our life, like a husband role and a wife role and a teacher role and a government role. And we assign all these roles to these characters in our story. It's a story. It's like going to the movies, you know. What if you sat back with the Holy Spirit and even made yourself some popcorn and sat there? Well, for me, it would be chips. And sat there and just watched your movie called your life. That linear timeline movie, your story, and just watched it and looked at all the characters and how you assigned them certain roles that they were supposed to play for you, and they were supposed to show up perfect so you could be happy, and your mom was supposed to do this and your dad was supposed to do that, and your wife was supposed to act a certain way, and your mummy's supposed to do it a certain way, and all these concepts that you have that you've assigned to all these people, and everyone's running around, everyone's scared, fear, fear, fear. And then you have this moment of reality where you have a breakthrough. It's like the curtain opens and you're like, oh my God, everything is filled with light, and you realize that you are the dreamer of your dream, that you projected all of it from your head, from your thoughts, from your mind. You did it. And you made yourself afraid in the dream, and you made yourself poor in the dream, and you made yourself scared of dogs and cats and afraid of lions in the jungle and afraid and fear, 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 fear. You became afraid of everything. You did it. You did it to yourself. But you had this moment where you recognized that you were doing it to yourself. And you recognized that every single player in your story, in your movie, came from a thought in your mind. And they really did. Remember, Jesus says in the Course in Miracles, people are thoughts projected. Yes, this is a thought projected. COVID is a thought projected. But what if you recognize that? You would be free from this body, and you would be in the realm of light, where you would be making nothing of this world real. And you could eat your chips and your popcorn at the movies, and you just watch this dream. You just watch this dream. And it would have no meaning for you, because you're just a passerby, just watching the movie. And you would know that death isn't real, sickness isn't real. You would know that poverty isn't real. You would know that fear isn't real. You would know that with certainty. Wouldn't you be happy? Wouldn't you then laugh? You would laugh hysterically at your own movie because you did it. And then you would be, at the end of your movie, you would be so grateful for all the characters in your movie because you put them there by how you think. And they played all this role for you. And now you're ready to lay your body down. And you're like, thank you for playing that role for me. Wow, it was amazing. Oh, you'd be so excited. You would just be applauding everyone in your movie. Well, and then at the end you'd say, well, show's over, folks. And there you go. Off you go. No big deal. That's what we're here to do, to remove the obstacles to the presence of reality. Remove the obstacles to the presence of love. Remove the obstacles to the presence of God. Just think about how much fear you're going through every day now. And the more you get into it, the more afraid you become. It's like, oh my God, where can I hide in the world? Oh my God, I have to go here, I have to go there, I better do this, I better do that, run, 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 run. And then you never know where to go because your mind is spinning. Because you're trying to fix an unreal problem with an unreal solution. But what if we just rolled the stone back, which means get the lid off the light. The body puts a lid on the light that you are. That's what it means to roll the stone back. The body puts a lid on this beautiful rainbow light that you are. And being so identified with it. Well, you start to look at problems, so-called problems in the world, and try to fix them with so-called solutions in the world. But what if you just let the body go, meaning detach from the body and the five senses? In other words, I don't care what I see. I know that only love is real. I don't care what I hear because I know only love is real. I know that God's in charge. I know that God is the only power. Your life would be entirely different. You would walk through it fearless amidst all these people running around, because you would know, well, you just projected it all and you've forgiven it all, because that's how we do it. In fact, I love this. I opened the book today. I said, okay, Jesus, I'm just finding this whole thing funny. I had a breakthrough into reality, the story of my grandmother and other things, like people sitting doing this and everybody afraid and oh my God, and well, got to do this, got to do that, fear, 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 fear. So, and Jesus was there and he's laughing and I could feel the presence of the Spirit and I could see my own fears throughout my life, and then I could also see breakthrough moments into reality. And so Jesus said, well, get the course, let's just open the book. So here it is. I opened the book, just like an oracle. Bam, there it was. And here's the message. I think it's from chapter 26. I'll have to make sure, I didn't write it down, but in my mind, I think it's chapter 26. So this is what the Master says. No evidence will convince you of the truth of what you do not want. No evidence will convince you of the truth of what you do not want. Because everything in your world, everything in time and space, the planets, the stars, the sun, the moon, the chair you're sitting on, absolutely everything in time and space is a projection of the mind. Then Jesus says, yet your relationship with light is real. That's what's real. In your right mind in God, the light is there. And it's always held there. Well, you're over here dancing in fear, running around, being afraid of this, afraid of that, and giving all your power to fear. Your relationship with Him, which is the Holy Spirit, the light, is so real. Regard this not with fear, but with rejoicing. Oh, yay, God. With rejoicing. The light is in me now. When I identify with the five senses in the body, I've capped it. Bam! But Jesus rolled the stone back and came out of the tomb. This is a tomb. He rolled it back, took the body off, and what was there? Perfect light. Perfect light. The one you called upon is with you, the Holy Spirit in your right mind in God. The light is in you. I will there be light. Wasn't that a great melody Jamie sang? Whoa, I will there be light. Bid light welcome. I welcome the light. The light is in me. And honor the witnesses you bring, who bring you the glad tidings. He has come. Yeah, hi Susan. Yes, yes. And as I stand in light, you're going to see witnesses to what you want to be true. What you're seeing in the world is what you want to be true. The fear you're experiencing is what you want to be true. The sickness that you're experiencing is what you want to be true. The lack of money or whatever is what you want to be true. When you want only God, when you want only love, you have your answer. That's where the miracles exist, in the light. And what's happened is we've lost our faith. So we've put all our faith in fear. It's like, oh my God, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? It's like, it's raining down this and it's raining down the sea thing and all. Oh my God, what am I going to do? Nothing in this world, anything you do in this world is just a Band-Aid to keep you on the wheel like a hamster. But the light is in you. And what if you put all your faith in the light? All your faith in the light. You're going to use things in this unreal world to prove to yourself, for like evidence. You're looking for evidence of what you want to be real. Think about that. What do you want to be real? You will look for evidence in this unreal world because the ego does not want to be wrong. So if you don't even recognize that you want fear, yeah, shift in and out of faith. Yeah, if you don't recognize that it's fear you want, because you keep looking for evidence of fear, what do? You watch videos that make you scared. You talk to people that make you afraid, that agree with your fear. So we're caught up in this unreal world, trying to find solutions in it, communicating with each other about how scary it is. But if you were only focused on God, you would not be entertaining that. Why? Because God knows it's unreal. The God in you, it's not real. So what do you want? That is the million-dollar question that's asked by all the masters. What do you want? Love or fear? Peace or confusion? They don't coexist. You have to choose one. You can't maintain both in your mind. You have to choose this: love, peace, joy, laughter, abundance, happiness. Or you're choosing nothing, but you think you're choosing everything because you've bought the bait where you believe you're separate from God. And so now you need evidence to prove that you are. Evidence to prove that I'm separate from God. So let me talk to all my friends who will then confirm that for me. And everybody gets together and they talk fear. Fear, 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 fear. Oh my gosh. Again, Jesus says, no amount of evidence will convince you of what you do not want. Who's the you we're talking about? Your higher self. The real you wants God. You don't want this, what's going on in this world. The ego wants that, but you're not the ego. You are what God designed in his own image and likeness. So Jesus tells us this in this chapter. No amount of evidence is going to convince you of the truth of what you do not want. Because once you say, I want God and only God, I want love and only love, I want peace and only peace, you know then that God has your answer. God is your answer. But we don't do that. And why don't we? Why are we so afraid of God? Why are we so afraid of love? Because that's what's going on. That's why we entertain this nonsense. Wow. So then he says, bid the light welcome. Welcome, light. I will there be light. I will there be light. And honor the witnesses. Everyone else that shows up in my space to witness the light in me. The Christ in me loves and honors the Christ in you. And we all agree, or we don't. It is true, just as you fear that to acknowledge the light is to deny all that you think you know. You know nothing. The I know mind is mad. It is a mad monkey, a monkey mind of untrue thoughts. Every thought you think without God, you didn't even think it. It's like a hallucination. God does not know anything about your insane thoughts. What's causing you to suffer is that you are believing your thoughts. When you believe your thoughts, you will suffer. What thoughts are you thinking today? Those are the thoughts that are causing you pain and suffering. And the reason they're causing you pain and suffering is because you believe they're true. But a body that is not true, your body is in the mind of God. Your body's in the mind. The mind is not in the body. So therefore, there is no body when you are outside of God. You cannot will outside of God, because God's will and your will are one. And that is because, remember those goggles we talked about a few weeks ago? You've never left God. You're just dreaming that you did. So you're dreaming this, and you're dreaming COVID, you're dreaming lack, you're dreaming scarcity, and then you entertain it. Wow, that's the problem. So the I know mind is the problem. The thoughts you think are meaningless because you're not thinking at all. Only loving thoughts are real. Hateful thoughts, thoughts of resentment, thoughts of anger, thoughts of jealousy, those are not real thoughts. Those are the thoughts we give to the Spirit. We forgive them. We give them up. So then Jesus says, but what you think you know was never true. Well, hallelujah. What you think you know was never true. So everything you think, it's like, yeah, I know. You know what they said? I know. None of it was ever true. Oh my gosh. That calls for another handful of popcorn and a sip of pop. What gain is there to you in clinging to it and denying the evidence for truth? The light is in you. So what are you gaining by clinging to the old rugged cross, as they say? What are you gaining by clinging to fear? Ask yourself, hey, Deanna, what are you getting out of this by being afraid? Ooh, ask yourself right now, what am I getting? What am I clinging to? Why am I clinging to this? What am I getting? What am I gaining by clinging on to fear? What's it doing for me? Well, I'll tell you what it'll do for you. It'll make you sick. It'll make you tired. It'll make you depressed. It'll make you spin. It'll make you angry. And it's all because you're thinking about the past. Every thought you think without love is coming from the past. So I need to give my past to the Spirit. I need to give it up. Let the feelings come up. Let everything come up into the light. And let the light of the Spirit in your right mind dispel it. Yeah. It's like the minute you feel yourself get scared, like, oh my God. And a lot of people are doing that now. A lot of people. Oh, what do I do? Here's my advice. Stop. Stop. Let the feeling come up. Let it come up. Okay? Drop into your heart. Oh. I want the peace of God. I will there be light. And then roll with the Spirit. Roll with the Spirit. Roll with the Spirit. Stop, drop, and roll with the Spirit. Roll with the Spirit. That's what you do in a fire. Yeah. I remember our house caught on fire when I was like 10. And it was like 3 in the morning. And for some reason, I woke up at 3 a.m. in the winter to take a bath. What? Well, that's the soul doing that. Spirit must have woke me up to take a bath in the middle of the night. What? Well, that was weird. So I got up, and what did I get up to? Bam! Smoke. The house was on fire. And I heard what I learned in school. Stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. Didn't you learn that in fire drills? So that's what you do when you get scared. When you feel the fear coming in, stop. Let all the feelings up. Okay, let it up. Drop down into your heart. Oh, take a breath. I will there be light. I give this to you. I give this to you. And then roll with the Spirit, where the Spirit's going to take you. The Spirit's going to take you somewhere amazing. You're not going to go anywhere amazing without the Spirit. You're just going to stay on the hamster wheel. Okay, so remember that. Stop, drop, roll with the Spirit. Beautiful. All right, so good news, what you thought was true was never true. What gain is there to you in clinging to it? Well, no. What are you doing? Looking for evidence for truth, right? For your truth, the ego's truth, which is not true. We're always looking for evidence to be right. The ego needs to be right. It's a striving machine of being right, and you're not the ego. For you have come too near to truth to renounce it now. Oh, yes, we have become so near to truth. We're not going to renounce it now. We got to increase our faith. Oh, my faith is in the light. I will there be light. And you will yield to its compelling attraction. Oh, light is beautiful. Look at that. We love light. Light is luminous. Light allows us to see everything in the world, in our life, in our heart. You can delay this now, but only for a little while, because God's plan is that you wake up and walk in this world as a warrior for truth. This is a time, guys, where we have to call forth the warrior archetype that's in our soul. You need to be a spiritual warrior for truth. Only love is real. Get thee behind me. Stop, drop, and roll with the Spirit is what I'm about. Let fear be nowhere near me. This is what we have to do. That's the warrior. You can delay this, but the host of God has called to you. The Spirit in you. You-hoo, I'm still here in your right mind. I am the light in you. Hello. And you have heard. Oh, yes, you have. You couldn't be sitting here this morning listening to this, singing along, if you have not heard the call. Never again will you be wholly willing not to listen. Wholly willing. Never again will you be wholly willing. Because even though you might turn away to that darkness, do you ever notice there's that other part of you that might say, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you thinking that for? You know that's not true. Come on, get back here. You know that part of you? Do you ever get that, Jamie? Like you want to be scared, you want to be tired, you want to be depressed, you want to be, well, that's kind of funny. Once you wake up, it's hilarious. You laugh at yourself. Oh my God, I was just so silly, crying away. I can remember too, another breakthrough I had when I was a kid. My mom and dad fighting. Oh my God, and my mother threw something at my father, and my father did this, and it was like World War III, and I had a breakthrough. It was hilarious. It was funny. I was the kid that saw things funny. And it was funny because I thought it seemed like a dream. So something in me was telling me at a very young age, none of it is real. But none of it is real. Wow. All right. So then I went to Psalm 23, which is in alignment with what Jesus gave us today. The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And Jesus says, no evidence will convince you of the truth of what you do not want. And Jesus says in the Bible, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. What is there to want when you know that God is everything to you? That is the holy instant. The Lord is my shepherd. You are in that beam of light. You are the Christ on that beam of light. Beam me up, lift me into the highest frequencies of love. Right here, right now, the Lord is my shepherd. I don't want anything else. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. Oh, well, when I don't want anything and I am one with God, where am I? I'm in a field of daisies. I'm in the fields of lavender. I am laying in green pastures in peace and serenity and comfort. And he leadeth me beside the still waters. Waters can represent our emotions. You are no longer reactive, emotionally turbulent. The waters are still because you have transcended time and space. Because the Lord is your shepherd. I shall not want. You have transcended body identification and the five senses, which would be, oh, I hear that and I panic. I eat that and I don't like it. I say that and I attack you. I touch it and it's gross. No more. He restoreth my soul. This is what we have to save, our soul. And you can only save your soul when you know that the Lord is your shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. And Jesus says, no evidence, no amount of evidence will ever convince me of the truth of what I do not want. The Lord is my shepherd. He restoreth my soul, and he leadeth me in the paths of righteousness, right-mindedness, for his name's sake. What is his name? I am that I am. Before Abraham was, I am. Before man, I am that. How powerful is that? Yea, though I, the ego, the made-up self, walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm afraid I'm going to die. Oh, my body's going to die. Poor me. Yikes. I'm unfairly treated. But when I walk with the Lord as my shepherd in this life, on this timeline, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. And thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou, my Lord God, preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Doesn't matter what's going on out here. The Lord is my shepherd, and he has prepared a table, a feast. I am coming home as the prodigal son. I am coming home to my Father, who has prepared a table for me. The stone, thy rod and thy staff has comforted you. You've got the rod and the staff. Those are, even in Egypt, we see the crook and the flail. These are the emblems of the resurrection, of the atonement, the transcendence of the body in time and space. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Isn't that beautiful? That psalm and that chapter, that verse from chapter 26 just hit me like a ball of light this morning, and I thought, that's what we're going to start with, and that's what I'm going to share with you. So I want you to think about your life when you've had a breakthrough moment where you laughed at things because you knew it wasn't real. Can you find that? Think about that. Yeah, and just relish that moment of the breakthrough, of knowing it's not real. And we need to do that more and more and more. And to increase our faith and trust, transfer our trust from the ego to the spirit. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So beautiful. Okay. Hi, Michael. Yes, yes. It's the whole body. Like you could say the body and the ego are the same. That's a great question. Of course, yeah. And so there it is, that veil, that smoke screen, that filter. The whole body is a filter, really. It's a container of fear when you're identified with it. And when that stone rolls back, like, oh, you just break out of it. Like Jesus coming out of the tomb. Even in the story in Egypt of Osiris, you know, he was invited by his evil brother, the ego, Set, to go to a party. And of course, Isis, the beautiful spirit, told him, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You know your brother. He can be pretty nasty. Let's just say it like it is. And that's the ego, the body. They're the same thing. Ego, body, and world are all the same. Well, Osiris, you know, he wanted to go and play. So he went down into the body. And he was, wow, the ego was so clever, had come up with a plan, a scheme to entomb him, you know, to put him in his evil clutches. So he told Osiris and everyone else at the party, hey, I've made a casket here. Anybody that can fit into it wins the prize. Well, Osiris was the first to jump in, the body. And what did the ego do? Man, he nailed it shut. He nailed it shut. And once it was nailed shut, well, he put it in the river, sent it away, chopped it into, I don't know how many pieces. I think they say 21 or 42, something like that. In the different stories, in the Egyptian mysteries, there's different stories. But anyway, he was chopped up, which means that we have been fragmented. You know, we're all over the place. And so those projections are all the people that we see. And who saved Osiris? Isis, the Holy Spirit, the mother, the light. Light. The light has come. I will there be light. And she put him back together. Yeah. So all these, there's so many stories in all the different religious traditions and mystery schools of this whole process of how we fell into the body, and then, you know, the stone rolls back, or the body dissolves because we're seeing with Christ's vision. And now, wow, we're in the story, but we're not of the story. We're just walking on this timeline, telling a pretty good story. And you know, I remember, it had to be, maybe it was a couple years ago, I was talking about when you're identified with the body, with the story, with your story, you're identified with it. Lots of people talk to me about, and then my mother said, and oh my God, and when this happened, and you know, I find it funny. I mean, it's not funny. You get what I'm saying? Because I know it's not real. Even my own story is really funny. Why? Because I've forgiven it all, and now I find it pretty funny. It's when you haven't forgiven it, you're identified with your story, now you have a problem. But when you begin to see how your story got you here, where you are so aware to the power of the mind's power to choose, like you can decide. Once you wake up to that, you will laugh at your story. If you're sad and resentful and mad and jealous and hurtful and hateful and fear, you are identified with a story. And you won't find it funny. You will be so serious. Everything about the story is so serious. Oh my God. Do you know any really serious people? Maybe you're one. So serious, so scared. Oh, we have to, you know, get out our swords and, you know. It's because you're identified with fear. Fear, body, world, ego. They all mean the same thing. So when I take the body off, in other words, I don't identify with the body, then I'm not identified with the made up me. I'm not identified with anything in the world. And now I walk this timeline in the world, but not of the world. And I'm the happy dreamer in the dream. It's still not real, but at least it's a better experience because you know God is all powerful. Yeah. And here's the thing too, you know, we're also afraid of death, and there is no death. Keep thinking the body is in the mind, not the other way around. So what was never born can never die. So we're so busy trying to protect the body because we're afraid of death, and we're afraid of God, and we're afraid of love. So we protect it. We look for people in the world that's going to give us the love that we so desperately need. And no one can ever meet that. Just think of all the people in your life that you love, supposedly. Have they not let you down? Yeah, because there's no perfect love in the world of duality. Only God's love is perfect. So you can come close to, you know, allowing and accepting and being non-judgmental, but there will always be this longing for something else, because nothing in this world can give you that sense of everlasting, eternal love and peace. No, that comes from God and God alone. So, I know. Is there something there? Does that mean if you have experienced a tragic loss of a loved one, it is also not real? Yes. In truth, it is not real, because everything is in the mind. Everything is mind. So when I'm identified with the body, it's real in that sense. But in my mind, when the content of my mind is only light, then I see what's happened. I see the story of the death and the loss and everything else. But as Jesus says in the Course, minds are joined, bodies are not. What you're seeing is a body, seeming body, that's no longer with us. But we are not the body. We are pure love light. And so what God has joined can never be separate. I know. There's a line in the Course that says there is no world. That is why the Course is not popular, because we want the unreal to be real. And then the ego is so tricky that it will tell you, you know, well, that's just stupid to say there's no world and there's no death. Look at, my husband died, my sister died, my mother has cancer. What do you mean that's not real? In truth, it isn't. But when you are in your right mind with God in the light, you recognize one of two things. That's a call for love, or it's an expression of love. It depends on where you're at in your mind. Remember when I told the story when my darling husband left his physical body? It was a shock at first. And then I started to feel happy. And then, because that's a breakthrough into reality. Remember, God is happiness. God is real. God is reality. Joy, peace, abundance. I had a breakthrough and I felt happy. And then the ego comes in, saying, well, how could you be happy? Your husband died. What? You probably didn't even love him. And that's why you're acting all happy. And all these, because the ego tries to reduce love to nothingness. Because the ego is nothing. So it doesn't want you ever to wake up and feel happiness. It doesn't ever want you to be peaceful, joyful, none of that. It wants you to be sad and grieving and lost and, you know. And when I was given the message by Reverend Randy that your husband on the other side in that light has lifted you to a higher level of joy, I remembered who I was. I am not the body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. When you have that in your mind, you are the most we participate in this world with such love and devotion in a way like you can't even believe. It doesn't mean like we go, oh, well, they died and that's not real and see you later, because that's what the ego would have you believe. No, no. Now, because you know nothing is real, you can be a source of light. You don't preach, you don't do anything. If you're at the funeral, you're there, you're present, you're participating with love in your heart because you know it's not real. I know, long answer, but yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else there, Jane? Okay. Let's look at our lesson then, which is lesson 87. It's a review lesson of lesson 73, which says, I will there be light. Your will and God's will are one. And because you're created in the image and likeness of God, there is no other will. We think we have free will. Well, that's called play in the world of dreams. and we learn a lot by running around, right? Using self-will, which is the ego running rampant in your life. But I will there be light with God. It's like God says, there is only joy. I will there be abundance. I will there be health. I will there be peace. I will. Think of all the wonderful words that make you feel alive and full of vitality. And then put the word will. I will there be light. Whatever that light is to you. I will there be health. I will there be abundance. I will there be, you can break it down. You can give it a thing that you're looking for in this world. I will there be peace in my relationship. I will there be whatever. It's light. We have the power to make the choice for light or for darkness. But in truth, there's only light. But when you forget that there's only light, you fall into the tomb. You fall into the darkness and bam, the stone is rolled back, doink, you're in the body. And the body's a lid on the gorgeous light that you are. It's in there. But the lid's been put on it by your identification with the body and the five senses. I know. I will use the power of my will today. It is not my will to grope about in darkness because you're not the body. You are what God made. So it's not your will to be dancing in the dark. It's not your will to be seeking for things in this world and never finding solace and peace and joy and happiness. It's never. You're never going to find it. My will is God's will. Let there be light. Groping about in darkness, fearful of shadows and afraid of things unseen and unreal. Jesus is telling us, when you see with the body's eyes, you are seeing shadows. When you see with the body's eyes, you are seeing things that are unreal. If only we believed it. Everything in this world is unreal when you look at it with the body's eyes. Because with the body's eyes, you are living in fear. What are you afraid of today? You are seeing with the body's eyes. What are you hearing that makes you afraid? You are hearing with the body's ears. Yeah. Okay, light shall be my guide today. The light in my right mind. I will follow it where it leads me. And I will look only on what it shows me. The light is not going to show you fear because light doesn't know anything of fear. They're they're opposites. They don't coexist. The light in you, when you bring your darkness to the light, darkness is fear. Whatever you're afraid of, say to yourself, remember, stop, drop, and roll. You say, okay, I'm afraid of this. I must be afraid because I'm anxious. Anxiety's through the charts, off the roof, whatever they call it. Is it off the charts or off the roof? Through the roof, off the charts. Okay, anxiety's nuts in these times. What is anxiety? It falls under the umbrella of fear. And what are you afraid of? God. At the end of the day, you're afraid of God, of joining, of union with God. Yeah, that's it. So he says, I'm going to look only on what the light shows me today. This day, I will experience the peace of true perception. True perception comes from Christ's vision. I have rolled the stone back. I've taken the lid off the light, off of this body's gone, and I've taken the lid off. The light is there, and I'm going to see everything with Christ's vision. It will have a different meaning. The spirit in you interprets everything. She will reinterpret everything that you have given a story to. But you have to hand it over. That's a requirement. You have to say, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. Remember, the spirit in your right mind, this light, only sees two things in this world. And this is so good to remember. Calls for love or expressions of love. That's it. Calls for love or expressions of love. So when you have anything going on, you can say, this cannot hide the light I will to see. I will to see. This cannot hide the light I will to see. Whatever that issue is. So if you're afraid of the COVID, this cannot hide, this COVID cannot hide the light I will to see. This cannot hide the light I will to see. Why is that? Because nothing in this world has power over that light. Nothing. Nothing. Believe that. Ask the Holy Spirit to increase in you that belief. You don't believe it, and that's why there's a panic. Panic attacks come from a deep, deep sense of loss, separation from love, separation from God, the belief that you're separate from God and you feel afraid of everything. Afraid of everything. Yeah. Nothing has power over God. God is the only power. Light is the only power, and that's where miracles are. Have you ever healed a sickness? Have you ever healed something because deliberately healed it, consciously healed it, because you decided you only wanted love? You only wanted love. You returned your mind to right-mindedness. You were no longer identified with the body at all. At all. Your mind was so healed that you didn't notice anything else but the love in you. Nothing else mattered. Yeah. Yeah. It happens all the time. You stand with me in light. So if you're having an issue with someone right now, maybe someone from your past, maybe someone who passed away that you need to make amends with, or wish that you could have said something before they died or whatever. There's a lot of that going on now too. This is where you would get their name into your heart and say, you stand with me in light. Aaron, you stand with me in light, Mom. You stand with me in light, Dad. You stand with me in light, Jackie. Whoever it is, that you want to stand with you in light. Call it in, because now you're seeing with Christ's vision. In the light, this will look different. These lessons are so profound. They're simply profound. They're simple and simply profound. If we did them every time you come up with a lesson here, you read it and you actually did it for the day. I swear to God that this Course in Miracles is what they call a modern day ascension manual, because it has 365 lessons to lead you out of the tomb and into the love light of your true nature. Okay, so in the light, this is going to look different. Whatever grievance you've held, whatever unforgiveness you've got going on, whatever fear you have, whatever it is. When you let the Christ in you be your eyes, you see the whole world entirely different. You see it with fear because you're not using the Christ eyes, you're using the body's eyes. And now you're going to suffer tremendously. And you're going to run around in this world looking for things to protect you, that you believe will protect you, and they won't, because they're not solutions, because they didn't come from God. Hi Dina. Yeah, the only solution we have is God is, I am, all is well. God is, I am, all is well. God is, I am, all is well. God is, I am, all is well, all is well. God is, I am, all is well. That's the only thing. That's the solution. So we run around, and listen, I know there's a lot of people that have done this, taken this. That's okay. It doesn't mean you're bad and you're not spiritual. And there's people that didn't take this and are judging people who did take this. And then there's people that took this and are judging people who didn't take this. It all means nothing because it came from the unreal world. It is not a solution. Nothing in this world is a solution. God is, I am, all is well. All is well, God is, I am. That's the only solution. So forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for attacking those who did this. Forgive yourself for attacking those who didn't do this. God is, I am, all is well. You see how it's funny? When you wake up to the light, it's all funny because it's all unreal. All right. Lesson 74 review says, there is no will but God's. I can become afraid only when I believe there is another will. See, the ego is self-will run riot. Self-will. Look at the bottom three chakras. The red one is guilt, deep down guilt and beliefs that come from the timeline. The sacral chakra is your emotional response, your belief system. Your solar plexus is the seat of power, the will. People are stuck here, and if you're in a 12-step program, it's called self-will run riot. But there is only one will, God's will, because God is the only power. So I can become afraid when I believe there's another will. I try to attack only when I'm afraid. See, people that love, they're not sarcastic. They don't have little, hurtful innuendos. They are not resentful. They're not grieving. They're not mean. People that are afraid attack because it's not them. They are believing in the false self. They think that they are this body, this bag of bones is who I am. That's what they think. So when you think that, you're going to have to feel really afraid because you're defending against God. That's what the body is. When you identify with the body, you are defending against truth. When you are busy in this world, trying to figure out where to go, what to do, and what to say according to the ego's will, you are just defending yourself against truth. You are distracted by the trinkets and the symbols and the idols of this world because you're so afraid of joining with God, of joining with oneness. That's why you watch videos that make you afraid. And that's why we get into communication with each other about, ooh, the big bad world. And we're all wrapped up in, ooh, but who's singing praises of joy? Who's smelling the flowers and saying, the Spirit in me will guide me and tell me where to go, what to do, what to say? I have so much faith in the Spirit in me. I have no worries. I have no fear. I am going to trust. I have transferred all my trust from fear to love. Just think of what you entertain yourself with during the day, and that will tell you what you want to be true. That is why the undoing of the ego requires mind training. You must train your mind. I must train my mind. Because the ego is deep. Lifetimes of believing in the unreal self. It's insidious. And the ego, as they say in the 12-step program, is cunning and baffling. It will have you believe the most heinous things to keep you in its evil clutches, and none of it is real. So I try to attack only when I'm afraid, and only when I try to attack can I believe that my eternal safety is threatened. When you know who you are as the image and likeness of God, you are in eternity in every moment. You do not feel threatened by anything in this world. Meh, you know it's not real. How could you be threatened by anything that you've not made real? Think about all the things that you've made real. You've made death real. You've made sickness real. You've made poverty real. You've made lack real. You've made fear real. And you look out and you see evidence of it. Of course you do, because that's what you want. Remember, if you're in your right mind with God, you see one of two things: expressions of love or calls for love. And if it's a call for love, you are so filled with light, your cup runneth over. You are the embodiment of truth. God is, I am, all is well. Now you're useful. Because you're not talking about, oh, the world is falling apart. Oh my God, what are we going to do? No, how can you be useful like that? You can't be useful like that because you're identifying with something that's unreal. Oh, people that are, not making it real and giving all their power and their faith to a higher principle, now they can be of use. Remember the story of Jesus after he received the wonderful Beatitudes and he came down from the mountain? He was useful. He kept walking as the embodiment of love. You get up the mountain, you've got all the information now. Well, it's only half done. Now you have to take all you know and actually live it. Be it, demonstrate it. So, yeah. Okay, Jesus says to say this to yourself. Today I will recognize that all this has not occurred. I am safe because there is no will but God's. God is, I am, all is well. There is no will but God's. The three specific applications all reflect the oneness of God. Whatever it is you're facing, Jesus says to say this: Let me perceive this in accordance with the will of God. Remember, God wills for you perfect happiness. That's why you can laugh. That's God's will for you. Perfect happiness. Let me perceive this in accordance with the will of God. It is God's will that you are his son. Whoever it is you have a grievance with, maybe you want to put your own name there, doesn't matter, but a person, a place, a circumstance, whatever, fill that blank. It is God's will. You are his son, Jamie, and mine as well. This is part of God's will for me, however I may see it. Wow. So remember, everything is a reflection of God's will. Forgiveness. Forgive the dream. Forgiveness. Look at your story. Everything on that timeline, from the time you were born till the age you are now, look at all your grievances. Even you can draw it out. Take a piece of paper and draw a line and go back as far as you can remember to the story you've been telling. The sad one, the angry one, the poor me one, where you were unfairly treated one. And you write it all down. Go deeper, get in touch with the unforgiveness. Okay? God's will for you is forgiveness. Give the dream up. Say, wow, that was an interesting dream. Even though I wrote down here that my mother was nasty and she hurt me and she made me, whatever your story is. Now look at me. I am awake and I am aware and I am so conscious. What do I do now? Oh, I applaud my mother. Thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. You played the best role. Oh my God, you played the best role. You were nasty and you were hurtful and you drank yourself to death and you did this and you did that and you did, and I condemned you and I blamed you and I me. And now that I'm here with God as my guide, the light in my heart. Thank you, Mom. Thank you for playing that role. I applaud you for playing that role, because without you, I wouldn't know that I was holding out on the light, that I was holding this grievance, that this was the veil. This was in my veil. And then you go to another time in space in your timeline and seriously get radically honest with yourself, where you're still really angry about certain things in your life. Angry, where you feel unfairly treated, where you felt victimized by dad, by mom, my grandma, by this, and you got this victim story going on, and you still tell it. You're 65. You still tell the story about he said, they said, she did, poor me, right? And you think you're still identified with it. That's not God's will for you. God's will for you is forgiveness, the atonement. And then you realize, oh my God, these people are all projections of my mind. And I want peace and I want joy and I want to bring them home to my heart, because I sent them out and now I bring them home. So do that. That's so great. That is so great. And we can do that at different times in our lives. Different times where, you have a different memory. And you go back. Or notice when you tell a story to someone about your past, and just notice if there's a twinge of, do you ever tell a story like that, Jamie? And you think you've overcome it, and you tell the story, and then you feel that little bit of, and then you think, oh, the ego's like, no, just push it down. No. Stop, drop, and roll. Let it come up and say, oh my God, I just told a story to someone and it still had a tweak to it. It still got to me. So there's still some unforgiveness. Yeah, God's will for me, God's will for you is forgiveness. Peace comes from forgiving the timeline, the dream. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Guilty. Me too, Michael. Yeah. I do. I like to do this. I sit sometimes and look at my timeline and I go, oh, I say to the Spirit, okay, I'm ready to look at this with you in a deeper way. Is there anything still left in me with this particular story? Divorce, giving birth. Oh, I had a doctor once that delivered one of my babies, and he was so nasty. I discovered recently that I still had unforgiveness toward him. I was still blaming him, right? And I thought, oh, wow, I still have unforgiveness there. Okay, let me do some work here. And then I sat in the movie and watched it and ate some chips with the Spirit. And we watched that movie called Delivering My Third Baby, and the doctor being an idiot. See, idiot, right? Still there. Yep. Until you can bow before all the people in your life with gratitude for the role they played to wake you up, your forgiveness work is not done. I will there be light. God's will and my will are one. I know, so there it is. That's some good work to do. And okay, guys, here it is. Here's what I'm asking you in terms of what to do next. We can do some paragraphs from the Remembrance of God, how to remember God, or we can pull a Metatron card. Which one would you like? So we have about 30 minutes left. Anybody? Do you want to pull a card, or do you want to read from the Course in Miracles?
Let's see. I should hear some.
Okay.
JC says read from ACIM. Sue says card.
Okay, Sue. Hi, JC. The way to remember God. That's in the Course.
And oh, we got a lot of card people. Metatron, pull a card.
Okay, so I tell you what. Okay, we're going to pull a card, and I'm going. Oh, everybody wants a card. Okay, so JC, just for you, there's a paragraph here from The Way to Remember God that I wanted to talk about. It was the focus of this particular chapter. So let's read that. So this is from the chapter The Way to Remember God, and this paragraph is really profound. Jesus says, there is no fear in perfect love. Love is all-encompassing. And what is all-encompassing has no opposites at all. I am the Alpha and I am the Omega. We will but be making perfect to you what is already perfect in you. So as you do the mind training, undoing the ego's thought system, letting go of concepts, dropping beliefs, we will be making perfect to you what is already perfect in you. The light in you is the perfect Christ self that you are. You do not fear the unknown, but the known. So here Jesus is telling you that you're afraid of the light. You're afraid of God. You don't fear the unknown, but the known. Because in your heart, you know God. The memory of God is always there in your right mind. The unknown is actually the ego's world. You're groping around in darkness. You will not fail in your mission because I did not fail in mine. This is Jesus talking about how he went from the birth, being born, all through the baptism. He went to the mountain to give the Beatitudes. He came back down. He demonstrated. He went to the Garden of Gethsemane. He was put on the cross and crucified. He resurrected and he ascended. That is our journey. And you will not fail in your mission because it's already done. You were there with Jesus in the story, right? But that's what he's telling us. He took the whole entire sonship with him. So you can't fail because he didn't fail and you were there with him, the Christ in you. It's done. Give me but a little trust in the name of the complete trust I have in you. And we will easily accomplish the goal of perfection together. In other words, you can't do it alone because the self you think you are believes it's separate from God. So religion's not going to do it for you. All these things that we do, these rituals and all this different thing, what's going to do it for you is changing your mind about who you think and say you are. If I say I am one with the light, then that light shall dispel all darkness. So you need the help of a higher power. And in this story, it's called Jesus. But you could call it Buddha, or Krishna, or Rama, or whoever you want. Give me but a little trust, because Jesus has all the trust in you. And we will easily accomplish it together. Okay? For perfection is, God is, I am, all is well. Perfection is, I am, all is well. You are the perfect Son of God and nothing else. Perfection is and cannot be denied. To deny the denial of perfection is not so difficult as to deny truth. Oh, when you deny truth, you suffer. You're dancing in the dark, groping in darkness, struggling on that hamster wheel in fear, fear, fear. Deny the denial. Where is it here? To deny the denial of perfection is not so difficult as to deny truth. And what we can accomplish together will be believed when you see it as accomplished. When you change your mind and you're in that right mind with God, you are going to call forth witnesses to that truth in you. Everyone that will come into that comes into your space are vibrating on the same frequency as you, because love and not love never occupy or coexist. Never. It's either that or that. And then the last paragraph, Jesus says, we are therefore embarking on an organized, well-structured, and carefully planned program aimed at learning how to offer to the Holy Spirit everything you do not want. That is, Jesus is saying here, these lessons are organized, they are well-structured, and they are carefully planned. It's a program of undoing the ego's thought system. It's a program in training the mind. And it's aimed at learning how to offer to the Holy Spirit everything you do not want. So, do you want sickness? No, offer it up. Do you want anxiety? No, offer it up. Do you want depression? No, offer it up. Do you want that belief in whatever? No, offer it up. Make a list of everything you don't want. Make it, as Jesus did, organize it. It's well structured and it's carefully planned, because you're sitting there going, okay, in terms of how I think and believe about money, what do I want? What don't I want? How about my health? How about my relationships? How about and go right through it, and everything, you offer it up. She knows what to do with it. The light in you knows what to do with everything you offer. You do not understand how to use what she knows. The Holy Spirit knows your future. She knows your past. You don't know how to use your past to create a new future. She does. So wouldn't it be better or good for you to give all these past thoughts, all these past beliefs, all these past concepts over to the care of the Holy Spirit? She will reinterpret everything, and you will walk into a brand new moment to moment to moment to moment, being overshadowed by the love light of the one who knows your future. You will be told where to go, what to do, what to say. That sounds monotonous, but we can't hear it enough. So beautiful. What is given to the Holy Spirit that is not of God is gone. So Anxiety gone. Depression gone. Lack gone. Fear gone. Sadness gone. Gone, 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 gone. Give it up, turn it over. Gone. Yet, you must look at it yourself. Stop, drop, look at it, and then roll with the Spirit. Roll with the beautiful Spirit. You must look at it yourself in perfect willingness, for otherwise His knowledge remains useless to you. So there's a willingness here to want to see, to want to look at it. Bring it up. Surely she will not fail to help you, since help is her only purpose. The Spirit, remember Isis, the divine mother goddess, the wife of Osiris in the story, but in truth she was the Spirit. She fixed it. She knew the purpose. Her only purpose is help. Do you not have greater reason for fearing the world as you perceive it than for looking at the cause of fear and then letting it go forever? How would your day look if you bam, you dropped fear forever? How would tomorrow look? Glorious. You would smell the flowers. You would pay no attention to anything in this world because you would be guided. You would know, you would trust. There would be no fear. So just look at the level of fear that you're facing. That's how you know what you want to be true, what you want for yourself, and then list it out and give it over, right? And first what you can do is what the firemen told us to do in school: stop, drop, and roll. And then, yeah. Okay, so that's a little bit from that chapter, but it's, of course, it's always wonderful to read the whole thing. But to make our lesson complete, let's draw a Metatron card and see what the beautiful Archangel Metatron has to say. Okay, I'll do this today. Okay, so I'm holding these cards in my hand and I'm asking powerful Metatron to pull the card and give us the message that we all need to hear today. And so I invite you all maybe to think of something you're facing, a problem, whatever, just think about it. And let this message from Metatron speak to you. Okay? So. Oh my goodness, guys. It's a good one. Letting go, time for release. Thank you, Metatron. Oh, wow. Does that have a number, Jane?
4.
Okay, this is good. This is really good. Letting go, time for release. For all of the astrology fans, it links us to Uranus and the nature of change and adapting to unexpected events. Wow, what a good message. Listen, Uranus is in Taurus. We're doing soul astrology tomorrow night, by the way, Monday, because that's the day of the new moon. So I thought I'd do it tomorrow. Uranus is the beautiful card. It is the planet that brings unexpected change, and we sure are in that now. So its influence helps support whatever you're going through right now. Or it may be that you somehow sense a change in the air. I do. You feel that change is coming soon. Oh yeah. Letting go is appropriate for you now. You are asked, why do you hold on so tight and so hard to someone or something that has had its time? That's interesting for me. Look at your hands. Are they clenched? Is your breath shallow and your body tight from trying so hard and preserving for so long? Ooh. You may have been trying to control or change something that wasn't meant to adapt to or be part of this next stage of your life. And I think this is happening for us now with these massive changes in the world. People are being asked to let go, detach. Things are changing fast and furious. Yep. Instead, look to yourself and what is vibrationally right for you now. Ooh, thank you, Metatron. That's beautiful. Vibrationally right. Learn to be flexible, yielding, and able to let go. The time is now here. I'm just amazed at this card. So many people are saying to me they want to get off grid. They are getting this calling to move to a new country, to let go of this, to incorporate that. I know, that's definitely Uranus and Taurus. Remember, guys, Taurus, second house, it's Earth, it's the economy, it's Bitcoin, it's your values. Your values are changing in these times. They have to, because nothing's the same. Of course, on Earth plane, change is the only thing that's constant, isn't it? Well, Uranus is in there and it's bringing some radical change fast. Letting go may also apply to a mindset, behaviors, or addictions. Truly, anything that makes your heart feel heavy and troubled that is not serving you, let go. Your attention is brought to this now. Archangel Metatron is here to help you realize that change happens all around us every day and that nothing can ever stay the same. There is a time and a season for everything. Wow. Maybe you have enjoyed or savored what you are now being asked to let go of. Know that there is a reason for every experience we have in life, every person we meet. We learn and grow from it all. And we just talked about that on our beautiful timeline in our story. Like the tree that knows when a new season approaches, you are asked to prepare now for the change that is coming. Are you just blown away, Jamie? Nature is our best teacher. The leaves that fall from the tree know that this happens to protect the life force of the tree so that new buds can appear again. How wonderful. And Pluto, for all you astrology enthusiasts, Pluto is in those final degrees of Capricorn, the planet of death and rebirth. Yeah, it's powerful, Jackie. Yeah. And Pluto is rocking and rolling everybody's life. That's got to die for that to be born. Those leaves have to fall off and leave the tree barren for the new buds to show. After the leaves have been fertilized back into the soil, nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. It is nature's way and our way of recycling and renewing for the next period of growth that wants to appear. Oh, I love that. There's a line from the 12-step program, many of the recovery programs, that says, growth, though painful, is worth seeking. It's always painful on some level to evolve, because what you have been so familiar with and comfortable with and where you have found things to be convenient fall away. But that it just moves you along that timeline, if you will, turning you into the greatest you could ever be. That's got to go for this to blossom. Know, too, that letting go can be gentle, like a soft breeze answering your soul's calling to adapt and move on. Or it can seem more forced, and some of us are being forced out. Some people are being forced from a place of living, dwelling. They are being forced to a new country. They're being forced to quit their job because they're living from the soul. And it feels like it's forced, but it's for our highest good because you're going to grow. Like a storm that appears that wasn't prepared for and seems needlessly harsh. Yeah. You think of times in your life where you were forced to grow. You didn't make that choice consciously, but you were forced out of a comfortable situation. You were forced out of a convenient way of doing things. I remember when I came from Canada to Malaysia, and it was different to me, very different. And I stayed with Aaron in a village house, which I found very entertaining. Aaron didn't find it so entertaining. He grew up with it, but I thought it was fun. But it's a different way of being. I didn't have the comforts from home in Canada. I was sharing a room in a home with other people. That was new to me. It wasn't convenient or comfortable per se, but I adapted and found it wonderful because it was a new experience. And I so enjoyed it, every moment of it. But it wasn't comfortable. I didn't get to, get up in the morning in my own private house and go to the bathroom to get myself ready without people around me watching me. And in this new experience, I had to get up in my kaftan and walk through the house with all the other members sitting there with bed hair, going to the bathroom. And I got to see how uncomfortable that made me. I got to see, where I needed to forgive attachments to the body and to looking good and making sure everything was okay before anybody saw me. All that stuff, all had to go. Did I know that was going to happen when I left Canada? No. But when I got here in that new experience, it was different. And I loved it. I adapted really well because I was having fun with it. But I still got to see where I had to let go of fear. Let go with grace and gentleness. Do what you already know you have to do. But realize that you are not being asked to do it alone. Archangel Metatron is with you, supporting you. Also be aware of the bountiful gifts that await in your future when you close this door so another can open. Choosing this card may also imply that you are being carried by Archangel Metatron through a period of grief. Maybe you have lost a loved one, a person dear to you, or a pet. Maybe a change of circumstance has left you bereft, a relationship breakup, or an empty nest. Know that the angels are with you now, bringing comfort and watching over you from afar. Be brave. You're a warrior. Be brave. Breathe deep and let go of what no longer serves you today. Wow, that is a beautiful message from Archangel Michael. So does anybody out there, are you experiencing something that you could really apply this message to? Where you're going to have to let go of something, you've got to move on. A lot of people are saying to me, I'm going to lose my job because I don't want to do this. What do I do? There's a lot of struggle, really, a lot. And people are saying, I got this and now I'm having remorse. What do I do? This is where we can use this wonderful message coming from Archangel Michael and apply it to our life. So very powerful. I wasn't too comfy on the street for 2 weeks. Michael, I love you, Michael. Oh my God, that must have been an awesome experience, right? Now that you look back. Yes. When we think of all of our uncomfortable experiences, or how about, I've had experiences, this is really something, being with people on trips whereby they have poo-pooed in their pants. Yep, it happens. And then, yeah, hi Sue. And then you know what happens? It's like everything that happens to you happens for you. And so you think of when you have an accident, right? This is our humanness. We have an accident, and then, or maybe peed their pants because just, you know, being out in the wilderness or whatever, and something has happened. And then you get to see your embarrassment. You get to see shame. You get to see, you know, you want to hide your face and you don't want anyone to ever know that this has happened, and you can't even bring it up. And yet all of this is laughable when you no longer identify with the body. Right? Have you ever had an experience like that? It's like funny. Once you are not identified with the body, you can laugh at everything because it's meaningless. So this is the undoing that we're going through. Must confess, Dad died. I laughed as he came to me. No need to attend the funeral, Mom. That's awesome. Oh, that's so good. Thank you, Michael. Yeah. So anyway, guys, thank you for joining me today, joining us in this wonderful gathering. And tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Soul Astrology. It's going to be interesting. New moon happening. I'm going to go around the zodiac and tell you how these energies are kind of, you know, working on you. Again, I have to remind you that astrology is not determining your future, but it's an indicator of the energies that are at play. And we can use these symbols in the dream world to help us navigate our timeline. So join with me tomorrow. And thank you so much for all your donations and your generous gifts. And I've been so busy over the last few days. We both have, actually. And I know that, hi Vivian, yeah. But we'll connect again soon tomorrow night. And I love you, I love you, I love you. A million hugs and kisses. Bye for now.